Today I'm going to show you how to replace the carburetor on your WEN generator. Make sure the generator is off before starting and never perform maintenance on a running generator. The carburetor is located in the back of the generator just behind the air filter assembly. In order to remove the carburetor, we'll first have to remove the air filter. This video will show you detailed step-by-step instructions about how to remove and reattach both of these items. Before doing anything else, make sure to turn the fuel valve to the off position in order to stop the flow of fuel to the carburetor. First, locate the air cleaner assembly to the left of the recoil starter. Remove the cover by unscrewing the knob located at the bottom of the air cleaner. Next, remove the foam air filter from the housing. Just a warning, the foam filter is probably somewhat oily. After removing the foam, remove the metal grate from the air cleaner housing. Once the grate has been removed, you'll find a 10mm nut in the middle of the housing. Remove the nut and set it to the side. The next nut to remove can be found on the top left-hand side of the housing. The third nut is located on the back side of the housing near the base. Once all three of these nuts are removed, detach the rubber hose on the left-hand side of the air filter assembly. Use a pair of pliers to remove the clamp holding it in place before sliding off the hose. The second and final hose can be found in the top of the air filter assembly. Pull this hose from the housing. At this point, the air filter assembly should be completely free. Slide the entire casing off of the body of the generator to gain full access to the carburetor. Next, unclip the hose attached to the right-hand side of the carburetor. You may need to use pliers or some other type of tool in order to pry the hose free. Next, remove the gasket from the front of the carburetor by simply sliding it off of the bolts. Set it aside for the replacement carburetor. Now, pull the old carburetor forward along the bolts until the regulating spring connected to the top of the mechanism becomes taut. Carefully unlink the regulating spring from the carburetor. Next, remove the pulling rod by swinging the linkage all the way to the right and pulling up. Once both the regulating spring and the pulling rod have been disconnected, the carburetor can be fully removed. Before installing your new carburetor, make sure to first attach the choke lever. Once that is done, slide the replacement carburetor back into the position of the old one. Connect the pulling rod and the regulating spring to the top of the mechanism. Next, put the gasket back in place and then reattach the fuel hose to the right-hand side of the carburetor. Clamp it in place and then slide the air filter housing back onto the generator. Reattach your three bolts, the one in the front middle of the casing, the one on the left-hand side, and also the one on the back near the base. Next, plug both of your hoses back in. Use a pair of pliers to secure the clamp on the hose leading into the left-hand side of the air filter housing. The hose on top can be fed in without any tools. Replace the metal grate, making sure that it fits securely onto its intended two threads. This is very important, as it prevents the foam filter from being sucked into the carburetor. Finally, fit the foam filter back into the housing. Once it's nice and secure, close up the casing with the air filter assembly cover. And there you go. That's how you replace the carburetor on your WEN generator.
Remember WEN.